All right. So again, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us tonight. We are very excited to talk with you and hopefully your student about beginning the process for college planning. So hopefully you guys have started to think about maybe some options for after high school. Tonight we're going to go through a brief overview, which I know this is going to be overwhelming, but I promise we're going to walk you through step by step of the process today. What's nice too is that we're also going into the English classrooms to go into more detail about the process, so that way your child knows exactly what to do with the college application process. All right, so again, I am Ms. Salazar, and welcome again. My email address is on the screen for those of you that need it. You can email me at any time. I'm always available to help answer any questions that you guys have. And we've got your senior counselors.
Good evening, class of 2022. I'm Christina Rhodes, and I have seniors' last names A through GUR.
Good evening, class of 2022. I'm Ms. Jennifer Williams, and I have seniors' last names GUS through PIT.
And good evening, Panthers. My name is Mr. Shelby. I have students with last names PIU through Z.
Awesome. Ms. Dickerson.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. My name is Kim Dickerson, and I am the counseling department chair.
And then the rest of your senior team is the assistant principal, Ms. Palacios, your grade level dean, Mr. McKinney, and then your grade level social worker, Mrs. Shannon. So before we get started, I'm jumping into the rest of the presentation tonight. I do ask that if you have questions, if you can please put them in the Q&A. The counselors and Ms. Dickerson will be answering the Q&A throughout the presentation as you guys have questions. And then we will open it up at the end for about 5 minutes for any additional questions. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So different resources. We want to make sure that you guys know about all the different resources that we have available for you and your student. We've got the counseling office. That's where your students will be able to find me. I'm at the main counseling office at the front of the school. We've got Naviance, which we'll talk about today. We've got email. Hopefully you guys have started to get my emails. I usually try to send them out on Fridays only, but they do have a lot of important information for you guys. So hopefully you're able to utilize those emails. We've got our counseling canvas page, which I will refer to a lot tonight. And I will also show you our counseling canvas page. We're also on Instagram. We've got some YouTube videos to help your student. And then we've also got Twitter. So we're really trying to make sure that we've got all these different platforms available to you to make sure we're reaching you and your student in the best possible way. All right, so counseling and advising sessions for your seniors. So tonight we've got our large group overview of the college application process. And from there, we're actually gonna go deeper. So as I mentioned, we're gonna do senior English classroom meetings. I started those meetings yesterday and they will continue through the end of this month. And what's nice about those is we're gonna take it a step further. We're giving you the overview of the college applications information tonight, but then I'll actually walk through step by step with students during their English classroom meetings, which is awesome. We've got small group help sessions that we'll be holding after school. I was talking with the counselors today that we're going to try to organize those so that way we have it set up by different categories. So if your student has some questions, they can stop by during that 30-minute time period and get some additional help. Your counselors will also be meeting with students as well. So there's lots more opportunities for your students to get additional assistance. And then on top of that, if your student wants to meet with me, they can schedule a meeting with me, either through email or by stopping by my office, and then we will make sure that we get that meeting set up. All right, so tonight we are going to cover the senior year timeline, SAT and ACT information, the college application process, so the types of college applications, and the deadlines. We're going to go through Naviance and paying for college. So again, we've got a lot of information tonight, but again, it's just the umbrella of it. And then we get into more detail as I meet with each of your seniors in their English classes. All right, so the senior year timeline. From August to September, we really want students to be researching their colleges, finish up any remaining testing if needed. So keep in mind, many schools will not require the SAT or the ACT. But if your student does need it, then we ask that they try to get it done between August and September. And then we want students to begin to apply early. From October to December, again, you're going to still finish up any remaining testing that you may need. You're going to finish up your early applications, and you're going to begin your financial aid steps, and that includes the FAFSA. Then in the spring, from January to April, you'll start to get your financial aid packages back from your colleges that you applied to, and you'll be able to review and see how much is it really going to cost to attend each of the schools that are on your students list. The FAFSA deadlines will be during that time, and then any regular decision applications, those will be due during that springtime as well. The springtime is also a really big time for scholarships. Our Advancement Center scholarships are available beginning in late December, and those are just for North Central seniors, so which is awesome. And then you can see we've got all the way until May till you have to actually decide. So make sure that your student knows that they don't have to feel pressured to make a decision on where they want to go. I know a lot of times students will get decisions back in November and December, but there are also many colleges out there that won't give decisions back until January, February, or March. So remember, it is okay if all of your friends know where they're going to go and you don't know just yet, because remember, you have all the way until May 1st to decide where you want to go. So again, please don't feel pressured to make a decision. We really want to make sure you're making the best decision for yourself and as a family of what school is going to be the best fit. Here you can see some key dates for seniors. It is small on your screen, I know, but you can actually find a copy of this in your counseling Canvas page, and your English teacher will have a copy of this in each of your English classes. All right, so SAT and ACT dates, as I mentioned before, most of you will not have a required SAT or an ACT. I do have some QR codes up there if you guys need to scan that, and it'll take you directly to SAT's website or directly to ACT's website. The big thing here is that if you are a 21st century scholar, that you do need to take the SAT or the ACT as part of your scholarship requirements. So even if you take it because you're a 21st century scholar, it does not mean that you have to submit your score to your college. So again, you may just need to take it because you're a 21st century scholar and you want to make sure you earn your scholarship. If you get free or reduced lunch or free or reduced textbook assistance, you do qualify for a fee waiver. You just need to contact Mrs. Kehoe in the counseling office. All right, so let's dive into the college application process. Again, I know this is going to be a lot of information for you, but again, we're going to go through step by step tonight and with your senior in English classes, and then we're going to take it a step further by offering those small group sessions as well as the individual meetings. All right, so application platforms. This is the part that gets confusing for students because there are multiple ways to potentially apply to college. There is the college's own application, there's the Common App, and there's the Common Black College application. There are additional platforms out there. However, these are going to be the top 3 that your student is probably going to use. Where it gets confusing is when the school has their own application, but they're also on the Common App. So there is no one best way to apply. It really is going to be dependent on each student. So if your student is applying to 4 schools and they are all in the Common App, in that instance, the Common App is going to be the best option for your student. If your student is applying to 2 schools and one of them is not on the Common App, but the other one is on the Common App but also has their own application, that instance you may want to apply just using the college's application. So again, I know this part can get a little bit confusing. If you have questions, feel free to email me or any of the counselors, and we can help walk you through that as well. One thing to remember here is, well, not one thing to remember, but one thing that gets confusing too is IU Bloomington, they've got their own application and they're also on the Common App. What I recommend for students that are thinking about applying to more than one IU campus is for you guys to use the IU application. And the reason why I would suggest using the IU application in that instance is because you can apply to all 7 campuses that IU has for one $60 fee. Whereas if you use the Common App, then you would be applying to IU Bloomington for a fee, then you'd also be applying to IUPUI for an additional fee. So again, in that instance, I usually recommend students use IU's application. But again, you want to take a look at this as you're looking at your college list to see, is my school on the Common App or do they have their own application? The types of applications. This is another place where students tend to get confused. If you take a look there in the middle where it shows early action, that is going to be the type of application that the majority of our students are going to use this fall. So early action means that students apply early and receive a decision well in advance of the institution's regular response date, sorry. So you can apply to as many early action schools as you want, because early action just means you're getting a response early. It does not mean that if you get accepted, you have to go to that school. So I can apply to Ohio State, Butler, Purdue, IU. I can apply to all 4 of those schools as early action, and I'll get decisions back from all 4 schools, but I still have until May 1st to decide which school I want to attend. If you take a look at the red box here on the right-hand side, there is early decision. Students make a commitment to a first choice institution where, if they are admitted, they will definitely enroll. So that application deadline and the decision will occur earlier. You are only allowed to apply to one school early decision. So again, when you're looking at it, most students are going to be applying early action or priority deadline. So we're going to have a lot of those terms when you're looking at your college applications. All right, so 2,229. That is the number of applications that the counselors processed from August 19th last year through November 1st. So the counseling office is about to get very, very busy. And we want to make sure that we're getting all of your students' materials in by each of your students' priority deadline. So it is going to be super, super important that you and your student are getting those application materials in early, because we want to make sure we get everything submitted before your priority deadline. All right, so application deadlines. You want to make sure that you are checking each of your applications to see when they have their early deadlines. So you can see here that we've got a deadline of 1 month in advance of your college's early application deadline. So if you have an early action deadline of November 1st, which many of your students will have, then we want your materials to be submitted by October 1st. So again, we're asking for it to be a month in advance, but the reason being is that that gives us time to make sure we process the transcript. If you need a teacher letter of recommendation, the teacher has time to upload their letter. And then that also gives you time to check your application portal to see if they've gotten all of your materials. If they haven't, then we still have time to work to make sure that we get all the rest of your materials submitted. So again, we ask for 1 month in advance, but that allows us, all of us, time to check to make sure that everything has been submitted. We also have the University of Cincinnati. That's one of our top schools that our students apply to. Their priority deadline is December 1st. So in that case, we ask that students' materials are submitted by November 1st. All right, so once your student has submitted their college application, then you may be asking, now what do we do? The next thing that we ask students to do is to log into their Naviance account. There are two different ways for students to log into their Naviance account. There is the high school website. You click on students and families, and then counseling, and then you'll see Naviance there. Then there's the counseling Canvas page. You will select college and career, and then you will select Naviance. So there's two different ways for you to get to Naviance. Once you're there, here's where it gets tricky. You can see here that there's a QR code if you need it. If your student is receiving my emails, then that means we have their email address on file. So if they're receiving my emails, but they have not logged into Naviance, that's okay. All they need to do is select forgot password, and then they will be able to get a temporary password sent to their email address. All students' usernames are going to be their student ID number. If your student is not getting my emails, then here's where you can scan that QR code, and we will be able to put in their email address into Naviance for them. So then that way they can also select forgot password. If the QR code reader isn't working for you, Mrs. Stroke's email address is at the bottom of this screen as well. So two different ways to make sure we get your email address on file. And we are working through this as well in your English classes. So next steps, once you are logged in to Naviance, the next things that you have to do, the first thing you have to do is request your transcript. So I'm going to go over this slide with you, and then I'm actually going to show you in Naviance how to do it as well. So you'll request your transcript in Naviance. We do have a short video on how to request your transcript in Naviance or in the Counseling Canvas page, or on our college application book. If you want pictures that shows you screenshots of how to do it, that's on pages 23 to 25. If you're applying via the Common App, then you want to complete the Naviance and Common App matching process. We have another short video showing you how to do that, or step-by-step picture directions in the college application book on pages 26 through 28. And again, I'll show you where the Counseling Canvas page is, as well as Naviance, to hopefully put it all together for you. If required, you want to request a letter of recommendation in Naviance. So you want to make sure that you talk to the teacher in advance to adding them in Naviance. Once you add them in Naviance, it will actually send the teacher an automated email letting them know that your student has requested a letter of recommendation. We also ask, when you're talking with your teacher, if you could provide them with a resume. We have an awesome resume feature in Naviance that I'll show you as well, that will help you figure out which categories to put on your resume. So that is also really nice. Okay, so before we get to paying for college, I'm going to show you our Counseling Canvas page. Can you guys see that? Hopefully. Okay. So here is our Counseling Canvas page. You can see here we've got our parent night link that we posted for our students. And then we've got testing information, academics, general information, high school website, social workers, parent night video link. So this is where we'll post our video later. Contact information, forms, helpful links, and our online job board. Where we're asking your student to go is the College and Career tab. So here you can see this is where you'll find those key dates for seniors. Here's also where you'll find the college application book. Here's Naviance. There's the short video on requesting your transcript in Naviance, a video that shows you how to request a letter of recommendation in Naviance, and a video that shows you how to match your Common App and Naviance accounts. If you want to get to the Common App, you can get to it from the Counseling Canvas page. You can get some information on the FAFSA types of financial aid, and the college comparison chart that I'll show you in just a few minutes. So again, all of this information can be found on our Counseling Canvas page. As I mentioned in the college application book, we've got step-by-step screenshot directions for your student. So here again on page 23 shows where the student has to go once they're in Naviance, what they need to select, what they need to enter, and then shows them that they've requested their transcript. For matching the Common App and Naviance accounts, we've got screenshots that show what your Common App account will look like, what you need to do in that Common App area, how you need to get this green check mark that shows you've released your authorization, and then matching your account in Naviance. So there's a pink bar that you're going to see. You'll select match accounts, and then you'll get a green bar that shows your Common App and your Naviance now talk to each other. So again, I know this is a lot of information, but we're going to go through it again with your students in the English classes, and then we will offer plenty of small group sessions as well. So some screenshots for you guys, the Counseling Canvas page, lots of different ways for you guys to get some additional help and make sure we're getting all of your questions answered. Really quickly, I want to show you our Naviance account. So your student, again, will type in their student ID number. And then once they've set up their password, they will go ahead and log in to Naviance. So you can see on our home screen here, we've got some updates for students. We've got our Instagram, and then when we're going to start processing transcripts. If you scroll down, we've got the resume feature here where your student can click on and start answering or start building a resume to show what they've done throughout high school and all of their accomplishments. If you continue to scroll down under looking for scholarships, there's a little tiny box that says document resources. If you select document resources, this is where you'll be able to find all of our scholarships that we're going to post this year. So you can see that we've already got our scholarships folder ready to go, and we are going to start posting scholarships in there. We've got a scholarship that we will advertise beginning on Friday. That is our IU Wells scholarship. So that is a full tuition scholarship that we are going to email out to students, and then students can also find the application here. We also have the IU Group Scholars Program. So that is for students that have a minimum of a 2.5 GPA. They're usually first generation and underrepresented students, and they have to have some financial, they have to meet financial dollars. And if they do, and they apply, then they have a potential to get into IU and do the groups program where they will have some additional mentoring, not only before they get into college, but all throughout college. So if your student wants more information on the IU groups program, they can see me or email me, and we can go through the application together to see if your student qualifies. If your student qualifies, then we will go ahead and give them a link to the actual application. And again, that is the IU Groups Scholars Program. All right, so let's go back to our presentation and talk about paying for college. So we've got scholarships, the FAFSA, our net price calculator, and comparing schools. Scholarships. It is super, super important to make sure that you guys never pay for scholarship search services. So Naviance provides local and national scholarship information for free. We will advertise scholarships as we are made aware of them. We'll post them in Naviance, we'll send them out through email. You can stop by the guidance office with lots of different ways that we want to make sure we're advertising those scholarships. But then here are some other reliable sources. We've got the college financial aid pages, which on every single college's website that you're looking at, you can check out their college financial aid page and they will post scholarships for you. There's the Advancement Center, and these are scholarships that are just for North Central students only. So that's awesome. You're only going to be competing for a scholarship with other North Central students. We had a student last year for one of our Advancement Center scholarships, only one person applied. So that one person got that scholarship. So definitely make sure you're checking out all scholarship opportunities and continue to apply, because you never know how many students are actually going to end up turning in an application. There are civic organizations, employers. So for students, I know many of our students work, Culver's, Target, Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Crew Car Wash, all of those different places, they have scholarships for their seniors that are trying to apply, that are applying to college. Parents, check with your employers as well, because your places of employment might also offer scholarship opportunities. So lots of different ways, and they want to make sure that they're giving out that money. So we want to encourage you to continue to apply and ask about those different scholarship opportunities. There's local businesses, church groups, and Google. So with Google, those are going to be more of your national searches. So like your FastWeb or your MyScholarly, and we definitely encourage you to use those as well. But if you're looking and wanting ones that are more specific to North Central, maybe those Advancement Center ones are going to be a good fit for you. But definitely don't count out those national searches, even though I know that one can seem daunting because there's so many out there. Definitely just continue to keep applying. There are scholarships for left-handed students, for people that have red hair. So you just never know the type of scholarship. There's scholarships out there for students that caddy for golf. So keep continuing to look out for those scholarship opportunities. And if you're ever not sure, you can email me, or your student can email me, and we can take a look at the scholarship opportunity together. All right, so the FAFSA, that is the free application for federal student aid. This must be completed in order to receive any type of institutional, state scholarship, grant, or loan for college. The FAFSA will become available on October 1st. So again, right now, we really want you focusing on your college applications, but know that later this fall is when we're going to transition to more of the paying for college, and we want you to start working on your FAFSA. You do want to check with each individual college as to your FAFSA deadline. Later this fall, once the FAFSA does become available, we will actually host on-site FAFSA completion events where you can come in and bring in all of your questions, and we'll help you do your FAFSA on the spot. So we will offer, I think, 2 of those this school year, which is awesome. So there are grants, which is need-based money without repayment, so you don't have to pay that back. There are scholarships. So that's merit or performance-based money, again, that you don't have to pay back. There's work study. So those are need-based campus jobs where your earnings from those jobs will go towards paying your tuition or your fees, and you'll be able to see that on your financial aid packages. And then lastly, from filling out your FAFSA, they may offer you some federal loans. So this is money that you're going to borrow that must be paid back, and usually with interest. So just as an example, when I've talked with students, I said, maybe you're going to borrow $5,000 your freshman year, but then once you graduate, that student loan may be $8,000. So keeping those types of things in mind as you guys are thinking about and planning for next steps after high school. All right, so on each college's website, I've got 4 examples up here. You can actually find a net price calculator. And that is where it will actually show you, based off of some FAFSA information, what you may have to pay to attend that school. So you can see on the University of Indianapolis website, they're saying this calculator will take just approximately 12 minutes to complete. You can see there's one on Harvard's website, Howard, Purdue, and they will tell you exactly what you need in order to complete that. And again, it will tell you how much you would need and estimate what it's going to cost for your student to attend that school. So again, each college website will have this, and usually you're going to find it under the financial aid pages of their websites. All right, cost of attendance. So I've got 3 examples here on the screen, but this is something you can also find on each college's website. So you can see at IUPUI, they break it down for, are you living on campus? Are you living off campus? Or are you living with a parent? Purdue's got your Indiana resident, non-resident, international. You can see Butler's also got their direct costs for 1 year, as well as their indirect costs for 1 year. So you can take a look at this on each college's website as well, because they want to be transparent of how much is it really going to cost. If we take a look at IUPUI as an example here on the left-hand side, you can see that tuition and fees, those stay the same across the board. But what's going to vary is the transportation and the personal costs. So you have to decide, or you have to figure out that those are probably going to be lower or higher depending on each student. So some students may live close and it won't cost them that much to get to and from campus back home. Or maybe if you're in another state, then you have to factor in flight costs to get back home on break. So that transportation piece will vary. And then personal expenses, that also varies. Is your student going to go to Starbucks every day or go out to eat all the time? That is what's going to change that personal cost. For our 21st century scholars, again, we're just looking at IUPUI as an example, $10,000 for 1 year of tuition. For our 21st century scholars, as long as they keep that minimum of a 2.5 GPA, that they finish all of their activities and that they still qualify financially, they would get that $10,000 to pay for their IUPUI tuition. And if you think of it in the long term, for 4 years, that 21st century scholarship is actually worth $40,000. So again, please make sure your students are completing their 21st century scholar activities, because of the fact that that is quite a large scholarship amount that, you know, will really reduce costs for you, especially if your student is going to be living at home, or even if they're going to live on campus, that'll still reduce it essentially by half. So really keep in mind and take a look at each college website to see how much does it cost to attend each school year. All right, so comparing schools. So we just looked at the net price calculator and we looked at how much is it going to cost to attend each of the schools on my list each year. This chart can actually be found in the Counseling Canvas page. And all you have to do is make a copy or download it so that way you can keep it for yourself. So what you can do then is start typing in the document, add in your schools, put in your tuition, your fees, your residence, any books and supplies, so that way you can get your total cost. So you can see here for Alabama as an example, 1 year of attendance at Alabama is $45,784. Once you start getting your scholarship notifications back and you do your FAFSA, maybe you get some grants from filling out your FAFSA, you can enter in any of your scholarship information in this section here. And what it'll do is it'll take your total cost of attendance and it'll subtract out all of that free money that you enter, and it will actually give you your final cost. So we can see here that for Alabama, it started off at $45,000, but because the student got $29,000 in scholarships, their final cost for 1 year of attendance is just over $16,000. So yes, that's still a lot of money, but when you think about where it started and to where it's at, it's a huge difference. So don't let that initial sticker price scare you, because again, there are lots of scholarship opportunities out there. When you do your FAFSA, that all of those things help bring the cost down for you guys. So again, you can make a copy or download this to keep it for yourself, and you can put it in and the formulas are already set up so that way it'll do all of the subtracting for you guys. If you want to take it a step further and put in some due dates that you guys may have, we've got some different information at the bottom, and you can also continue to add different things at the bottom as well. All right. So again, I know that was a lot of information, but promise that we're here to help. We're going to be around all year long. And I did want to ask the counselors if there were any questions that came up quite often in the chat that we want to make sure we answer for everybody. Any questions?
I think we got most of the questions answered. I do, in case anyone missed some of the answers, this presentation will be available in the Canvas page on the counseling site through Counseling on Canvas. So, you know, if you want to watch it over again, because like Mrs. Salazar said, there is a lot of information. And if you want to review that, it is available there. Some of you were asking how to find the counseling book, the college counseling book that Ms. Salazar was referring to. We no longer, for those of you who might have had students in the past, we did used to give out a hard copy of the book. We no longer give that out. That book, the college counseling, as Ms. Salazar was referring to some pages that you can refer to, that book is also available on our Canvas page as well. So a few of you asked that. So if anybody missed that as well and wants to refer, excuse me, to the counseling book, that is also available on our Canvas page.
There was another question that I think might be interesting to a lot of folks on the call. There was a question about how many days do students get to visit college campuses? And so we want to make sure that you're getting the college visit form from the attendance office, first of all, and you get 2 days are allotted for campus visits. And so a good time for students to take those visits during fall break, during Thanksgiving break, gives you a chance to get on campus and kind of experience what it's going to be like to be there over the next 4 years if you so choose. So the attendance office first to get the form, and then you have 2 days.
I actually believe I forgot to show you where to find the letters of recommendation piece in Naviance. So I'm going to show you guys really quickly because I know that's a question for many parents and students. So in your student's Naviance account, here again, we're at the main screen. If you select colleges at the top, right here is letters of recommendation. So if you select that, here you will add a request, and then you can select your teacher from the list. And again, we encourage you to ask the teacher in person first, but you can see here, I've got 2 colleges on my list. Ball State, it says that none are required. So if I would like, I am allowed to add 1 teacher. Butler, they're gonna show that it's 0 required, but 3 are allowed. So when you're adding in your schools onto your list and you wanna ask for a letter, you can look here to see what is allowed, what's required, and what's optional.
And just a couple of additional things that have popped up in terms of visiting colleges. If you, so the 2 days you get, we are encouraging fall break, Thanksgiving break as additional days. If there is some extensive travel, North Central would honor an additional day if it is requested, if there's some special circumstance that is possible. And just there are a couple of other questions in the Q&A that we'll just answer out loud. There's a question about a gap year. If your student wants to take a gap year, do you go ahead and go through the process? Yes, you can do that. You want to make sure that you work with your college to ask what those procedures are. But yes, you could go ahead and go through this process now with your student. And then also, Ms. Rhodes alluded to it, but where do you find the information? The information is on Canvas, but we will also post this to the North Central website as well. So we want to make sure that all of that information is available to you. There's also a question about which transcript you should upload. You want to upload, if you start applying for colleges, you want to make sure that you upload, there's a transcript that is available in Naviance. That is the transcript that you want to upload. Especially if you're going to apply early action, you don't want to wait until the next grading period because you want to apply as early as possible.
So we are actually in the process of updating your GPA and rank in Naviance. So if you actually log into Naviance, you can check out the About Me section and you'll be able to see your GPA and rank. Again, that will be updated in the next day or 2. We will begin processing transcript requests on August 19th. And we are also in the process of getting a copy of your most recent unofficial transcript uploaded into Skyward, because we know that many of you will need a copy of your transcript as you are applying to college. So we want to make sure you have access to your transcript. So that will be coming hopefully in the next week or two. So that way you have access to see what classes did you take, what grades did you receive, your weighted GPA, your unweighted. But just please keep in mind that that transcript that you'll find in Skyward is unofficial. The only official transcripts that are sent are going to be through Naviance. Any other questions in the Q&A that you guys saw?
I think the last question hanging around on the Q&A, Lisa, is there's a question about what is the application portal that was mentioned?
Meaning how they're applying to?
Yeah, and I think that's just saying that we're just using applications and using the process that we described through Naviance. And it's just a term that we use. It's nothing specific. It's just going through Naviance and doing the applications.
So again, you're using Naviance to request your
The
transcript.
requests, yeah, and then applications are the different ways that you can apply via directly through the school, Common App, or the HBCU Common Applications for Historically Black Colleges and Universities.
Yep. So I can actually show you really quickly what your Common App will look like if that is what you're interested in. Let me show that really quickly.
And if that wasn't what you were asking, feel free to pop in another Q&A and let us know if you wanted something more specific, please.
Apparently I cannot share my screen anymore. So I cannot show you Common App. I do apologize. But again, thank you so much for attending tonight. We know that this is a lot of information. We know that it can be overwhelming, but hopefully when you're seeing the timeline and we're going through it with your students, you can see that not everything has to be done today, and that we'll get through it, week by week, mapping out a plan, setting yourself up to, I want to spend 1 hour a week looking at scholarships, or I want to spend Wednesday nights working on a college application, whatever works best for you and your family. Because we know, again, if you try to think that you need to do it all in one time, it is going to be very overwhelming.
There's another question that I think may be important for us to visit. Someone asked, is it okay to still use parchment.com for transcripts? And so there's Parchment, there's send.edu, there's all these different ways to send a transcript. And we're asking for you guys to have mercy on us and use Naviance to request your transcript because all those different avenues of trying to submit transcripts is very difficult. That's my take on it. Let's use Naviance, but Kim, Lisa, do you guys have a differing opinion about that?
So all of our requests, again, will be used through Naviance. That goes for Common App requests or schools that are not on the Common App. So what's nice is that it's kind of Parchment into Naviance. The only time students will use Parchment is at the very end of the school year. So we don't even need to think about Parchment at this time. It's just solely Naviance. And as we're meeting with each of the English classes, we're making sure that your student gets access into their Naviance account, and we're walking them through logging in for the first time. All right, I think that wraps up our presentation for this evening. Again, we recorded it tonight, so we will be posting it to the Counseling Canvas page, as well as I'll send it out in email once we get it finalized. But thank you again for attending tonight. Again, if you have questions, feel free to email us, have your students stop by our office. We're always going to be available to help answer their questions. But have a great night, everybody.